name is Norma Carpenter.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay, and then let's look at the minutes, and we've got two sets to look at.
I come all the time.
October 25th and November 1st, so let's look at the 25th first. That was Tom's last meeting. I called him Steve for probably 2 years, no kidding. Okay, so take a look through those.
Come on, open up.
Okay, any questions on October 25th? Al, you good?
I'm good.
All right, motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes from the
Okay,
25th of October.
Making a first.
Yes.
Teresa, you want a second?
Okay, I second.
All right. All right, and then let's go to November 1st. That was a good meeting we had on November 1st. I was telling the mayor about it, and I think what we did really makes a lot of sense. What did I do with the minutes, though?
They were both.
There we go, I got 'em.
Okay, I just run out of ink, I need to borrow a pen, I think.
Here,
Other than
I got
looking for a pen for 10 minutes.
here you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
I'll,
You good?
yes, I move to approve the minutes of
Okay.
November
Second.
1st.
All right.
Alan?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, he's still reading.
All right,
Okay.
good. Oh, Mary, wrong place. Ah.
Are you the tiebreaker right now? Are you the tiebreaker?
All in favor?
right
Aye.
now? Well, wait a minute, I have a second. I didn't hear a second.
You did, Al, you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, let's go to old business. So, I've started working on the table, going through, trying to match all the uses, right, which is what we said we were gonna do. And I went in and I looked at the table that's currently on the website, and I counted the pages. That table of allowed uses on the website is 17, just over 17 pages. The one we're giving them is just over 6.5. So, I think instead of us, and I talked to the mayor about this afternoon, instead of us trying to go through and identify everything we changed, I'm proposing that we just present this to them as a new document, and they can refer to the old one as they need to.
but will you be telling them highlights of what you did ahead of time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Alright.
I think if we do highlights, we're gonna be okay. But I think to go through and try and identify every single thing that we changed, because we also changed a lot of verbiage.
Uh-huh,
And so to go through and do that is, not only is a lot of time, but I think it's just easier to, like you said, we give them the highlights, okay? And then if there's a question, you can always compare it to the old table, or to the current table that's online. So I need to know what you guys think.
okay, are you presenting it before it actually goes to the council?
Well, no,
Are you
we're-
presenting it to somebody?
No, we need to make a recommendation
Right,
to approve
right.
it, then I'm gonna present it to council.
To the whole council?
Yeah, so that they
Alright.
understand what we did,
Okay,
okay?
yeah. That's fine. I'm okay
So,
with that.
what I think we need to do is just maybe go through one more time on the uses. I think, oh, no, wait a minute, whoa. Did you get the part about I skipped food services? Yeah, probably we ought to start there. I'm going through it going, hey, wait a minute, I don't remember talking about this. So
Alright.
let's go through that first, that's in yellow. Yeah, right there, okay?
Okay,
So, full-service restaurant, we show allowing in VB and recreational district. Any issue with that?
no.
Would you allow it in a PUD? I would.
I would, yeah.
I think I would, yeah. I mean, if you had like a golf course that wanted a full-service restaurant or something like that. Cafeteria or limited service restaurant, customers serve themselves or are served from a counter and pay before eating. What's in there now is village business district and recreational district, which I think is great. Would you put it in a PUD? I probably would, actually.
You would?
Well, I mean, if you have, let's say you have a golf course and they wanna have a limited service restaurant.
Okay, since they're lumped together, I guess it is,
Yeah.
I guess yes.
I mean, it would be like, you know, like when you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
mean-
gonna
Like a
do the
buffet.
limited services,
Yeah,
yes.
or it's just like if you go someplace, I mean, they have, okay, Chick-fil-A, that's gonna be my example. Chick-fil-A doesn't come to your table, I can't wait till the new one's built. Chick-fil-A doesn't come to your table and take your order. You go to the counter, place your order, pay for it, and get your food. And that's kind of what, it's a limited service restaurant.
Okay,
Okay, drive-through restaurants. Provides drive-in, drive-through, or drive-up service, includes most fast food restaurants.
the concern that I have here is the traffic that goes, that is attached to
Okay?
something like that.
And we've got it in business and recreational, so that's where it would be anyway, I think, right?
Well,
Yeah,
probably VB or RD.
right.
I mean, let's say if we include, I keep on thinking about this PUD as something that is basically, you know, possibly just a residential with some supportive.
Okay, so I'm not
Do
saying
you
we should,
understand what I'm saying?
I'm not saying we put that in a PUD. I don't think I'd put a fast food place in a
Well,
PUD.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but are you okay with it in village business and
Oh,
recreational
yeah,
district? Okay.
no, but we're
Okay.
talking about also.
I don't think I would put would you put it in the PUD? I don't think I would put it in the
Fast
PUD.
food?
Yeah,
Probably not.
no.
Okay, but we are adding, full service restaurant in a PUD?
Uh-huh, and cafeteria or limited service. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
snack or non-alcoholic bar. Prepare and serve specialty snacks such as ice cream, frozen yogurt, cookies, coffee, juices consumed on or near the premises. We've got village business and we have recreational district. How do you feel about PUD?
It looks like could be a small.
Yeah,
Yeah,
small
small
ice
would be
cream,
fun.
yeah, okay, alright. Okay, whoopsie, wrong letter, Mayor, there we go. Bar or drinking place?
No,
Okay,
Much further to walk home, I guess.
okay. Bars, taverns, nightclubs serving alcoholic beverages may provide limited food and entertainment. We've got village business and recreational district. If you have, I don't know, what do you think about that?
Okay, the mobile food service would be like a truck?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I mean,
stay on bar and drinking place.
we're still on.
We're still on bar
I
and drinking
I
place.
thought that we wouldn't have it in the PUD, but
Well,
it's-
I'm asking you, because we, remember, I omitted this whole category last time,
I'm
that's
I
probably
wouldn't-
good at either, I mean, if you're gonna have a restaurant that probably serves alcohol in a PUD, what's the difference?
But would you have that mixed in residential use? If we say
That's the
that,
PUD, yeah.
well, if it was part of a restaurant, yeah, by freestanding bar and
That serves snacks.
just the bar,
well, this is saying bar or drinking place.
still bar.
Well, no, I agree, it's still, but
It
it
says,
may provide food and limited food.
entertainment.
I'm still,
I'm ready to
remember when
win.
we went through this, discussion last time?
Yes.
With the supporting services
Right.
to the, okay, I'm still along the same lines.
I think no,
So the bar, I would say no.
I would say no.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Mobile food service, prepare and serve meals and snacks for immediate consumption, VB and RD, alright?
Yeah, that's just like disappeared on me.
Take that.
I'm okay, because that really is not a,
I don't think that's a big, I don't know.
I mean, that's,
I mean, if a restaurant also has a food truck, I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But if there is no restaurant, you can still have a food truck?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could have one.
I'm okay
Yeah, like
with
what
that.
if the golf course decided to have a food truck?
Yeah, but
Probably
that's
a good
not
idea,
even,
actually.
I mean, it's allowed for it to go to that location, but it's not a permanent fixture for the most part. Or it could be, I
It
guess.
could be, I mean, I would say
Yeah,
it
no,
could
that's
be.
fine. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if you're, if you go, I go regularly to the little food truck that's next to the Mexican restaurant in Southern Pines. Well, don't forget, I grew up in Argentina, so I use a lot of Hispanic products.
Andy, I'll catch it at the end, okay? Okay, so mobile food service and.
I'm
PUD.
okay with that, and PUD, yes.
Okay, I'm not.
You're not?
Well, to me, then it would be a permanent fixture in
Well,
the PUD?
that was my question.
I mean, I don't,
Because as long as it's not permanent, I'm okay with it.
well, it's gotta have a place to sleep. Well, I'm just saying, I'm asking,
Why?
I don't own a food truck, so,
I mean, they can move from one place to the other. I mean, I would not assume that it's permanent for the most part.
okay, so we're gonna allow it in village business, we're gonna allow it in recreational district, and then you wanna allow it in a PUD?
Well, I mean, if it's parked there and wants to sell food to the people in the PUD, yeah. I mean, or,
Okay, alright, so if you had a mixed residential use and you had some small shops, and then some people said, hey, we wanna do a food truck rodeo, I don't know if that's what they call it, but you know, and you're like
Thursday
4 or
nights or
5 of
something,
them,
yeah.
we would not have a problem with that.
right.
Okay,
Or what about, like a ice cream guy that drives the neighborhood?
I agree.
yeah,
That's a food truck too.
it is, yeah, it is a food truck, okay. Caterer, provides single event-based food services, including banquet halls with catering for wedding receptions, etc. This is not one of my favorite categories, period.
Okay, are the banquet halls part of this caterer, or it
Well,
just prepares food for the banquet
Okay,
hall?
so that's a discussion we can have. I mean, I don't know where we have one here, but in Chicago, we had a lot of venues that were big banquet halls and the caterer was right there.
Well, no, I mean, I don't see well, okay, they're not in the PUD, let's put it that way. I'm okay with it being in,
Standalone?
yeah, in the
Well,
VB,
okay.
the RD.
So we're saying in RD then, that you could have a banquet hall with catering for big parties. So if the golf course,
Yes,
although you know what, that's not a fair comparison, because, when we go back and talk about proposed conditional zoning, that would be something that definitely would be a
okay,
conditional zoning.
I'm also thinking if my dream of a restaurant in the area would come reality, they could have, and I always look at this corner that if I had the money, I would do it. Whereas where I would have, a venue for like weddings, obviously they can't be too large, but you know what I mean? A restaurant with a
Yeah.
venue for a wedding, and then you have the caterer, food services there too.
Okay, and then you have the noise, and then you have the traffic. I'm just saying,
So anybody
But
that
it's already
wants
approved
to,
in business, and that would be business, right? That's already zoned business,
well, that would be village
so it'd be
business,
approved
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, so, How would you see it in a PUD?
I don't think like all of these fit the box of a
I
PUD.
don't
If you read the
No, I
definition
don't
of a
either.
I
PUD,
don't
they
think-
just don't fit it.
I don't think this
No,
one
I wouldn't
does.
put it in a
No,
PUD,
okay, that's
because we're
fine,
talking
yeah.
about, back to my idea of what a PUD.
Exactly,
Would be.
and I think the way that we thought about that was correct. So in this category, what we've done is we've left everything allowable in VB and RD. We've made full-service restaurant, cafeteria or limited service restaurant, and non-snack or non-alcoholic bar, and mobile food service, okay in a PUD.
Right.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yeah, but, okay, so let me ask you, when you
Yep.
present this to the council, are you gonna frame it with some highlights as to the thinking behind things that go on
I'm
the
just gonna
pad
get up
would
and
be?
throw it at him. Of course I'm gonna,
No,
yeah.
no, but it would be with the idea that a pad is like a residential area with some supportive.
No, that's exactly how we're gonna do
Not
it.
a completely like a shopping center kind of thing, but
No,
rather,
what we're gonna say is that based on the land use plan, the kinds of businesses that we wanted to see in the village were things that supported the needs of the residents.
okay,
So those kinds of things married with mixed residential use, we thought was appropriate
Alright,
for a
okay,
PUD. You know,
that's
if we get,
fine.
and if we get beat up, we get beat up.
alright,
Okay, now, having said that, let's go back, and talk about conditional zoning. I need to pull something up here really quick.
we are already talking about conditional zoning?
Well, is there anything else you wanna talk about on uses?
I thought that we were gonna have this discussion about conditional zoning completely separate from.
Well, what we said was, or at least what I think we said was, that we wanted to look at categories that might be good for conditional zoning.
Okay.
Just so that when we send it to the council,
All
even
right,
though,
all right.
and I found some proposed language for it too. Even though it's not there yet, they can understand what we're thinking in terms
Okay.
of what would be good.
Alright,
Al, did I send you articles on conditional zoning?
this one and this one.
I don't believe so, no.
Hang on a second.
I kinda was trying to look ahead at what you were doing when you sent the email that we were gonna go over that, but I didn't find much on it.
Grady Hornick, one of our attorneys, sent some good stuff. And so I'll send those to you, and you can read that stuff. Conditional zoning, there is really no such thing as a conditional zoning district, but conditional zoning can be applied to an established zoning district. And remember, what that allows the village to do is to put additional standards on something, and it allows us to do it in a legislative action instead of a special use permit, which is a quasi-judicial action.
Okay, so that I'm clear, are we talking about having a floating conditional zoning?
Well,
Not like,
here, let me just hang on a second.
Is it in documents, Mary, on the
not
county
Yeah.
website or the village
Hold on a
website?
second. Well, here, I'm sending you one right now.
Okay.
And this comes out of, North Carolina General Statute 160D. That's kind of the Bible. Get it up here. Jeez. I just sent it out. I don't know, it
Okay.
might take a bit for you to get there, but
Let me hit refresh.
it's a good.
no, they're good.
So the definition for conditional zoning is a legislative process in which an applicant proposes and the local government considers a map amendment that includes additional conditions. Conditional zoning map amendments change the zoning district applicable to a piece of property, but do not include any standards beyond the base standards of the zoning ordinance. Conditional zoning allows the local government and the applicant to agree on additional conditions that may be appropriate for a particular project within the context of a legislative rezoning.
Okay, so it
Okay.
does, so it's not like we're gonna go through the map and say, this is, this area
No,
and this area,
no.
it's just,
No, it's just something that allows, I mean, and you guys, we haven't done a special use permit hearing probably for, I don't know, maybe 3 years or so when we did the last solar farm. but it's very lockstep. Remember, the only people who would be able to comment, let's use the solar farm this way, right, this way, toward Hoffman. The last one we did that you can actually see from the road, okay? That's it was a special use hearing, special use permit hearing. And the only people that were allowed to comment were the owner of the property, the developer of the solar farm, and any adjoining property owners. So if someone else had something that they felt was relevant, they wouldn't have been able to speak. That's why it's called quasi-judicial. The testimony is sworn in and it's recorded. So it's just a lot more, the Board of Adjustment works that same way. Those are quasi-judicial. Conditional zoning is gonna give us the chance to, where to go, apply conditions within a zoning district that may be appropriate for a particular project. Okay, so if we go to the table,
You send that to Al Taylor or Al Sanders?
send it to Al Sandy, come on, don't,
It's not popping out.
well, it was a big document.
Okay.
It might take a minute, sorry. Okay, what was your name again? No. So let's start at this top of the table, all right? And there are some, I think, you know, where we are in single family and multifamily.
Yeah,
Okay, it was pretty easy. We put, oh, we wanna delete that. Hey, let me ask a question. Last week, when we talked about bed and breakfast home, we took it out of a PUD, didn't we?
I think we did.
I think we did, yeah,
I think we did.
All right, gotta get that out of there, okay. So when you look at residential uses, like single-family detached, multifamily, stuff like that, we've got all those things listed in a PUD. Now, do you wanna also put them in conditional zoning?
give me an,
Do we?
Can you do an
give an
example?
example,
No,
ma'am.
no, that's
Give
why I'm asking you. I really can't
Give
think of
an example, but how we,
I mean, the way I'm thinking about it is if you put, I mean, those districts are pretty tight. If you put a single-family home on an RS or RS 30 lot or 40 lot, your setbacks, I mean, it's all there.
not a lot
You
of
can't,
them.
yeah, I mean, it's a use by right. There's really no,
well, yes, that's why I was asking for an example, because I just
well, I
can't
can't
see
think
it.
of one. That's why I'm asking. As I was looking, I thought, you know what? If somebody wants to do mixed residential uses and they're in a PUD, I mean, obviously, that's something that goes outside of the bounds of the normal
All
zoning
right,
for
so
that district.
let's say, I think that, let me give you the scenario.
Alright,
Somebody is able to buy or already owns several parcels within this district,
several what?
several parcels.
Okay, within which district? A
Within
residential
the
district?
residential
Okay,
district. And they wanna accommodate something, because they have, you know, the land, they wanna accommodate something different.
like what?
Let's say that they own 5, or they have access to 5 single-family parcels that are zoned for single-family, and they wanna have a multifamily there. Because now they have more land, so therefore,
I don't know that that's a conditional zoning though, because they're actually requesting a rezoning. They don't get the option, if your property is zoned, I guess I can sit up, single family detached, a regular single family house, and you wanna change the zoning to residential multifamily, that's a rezoning action.
okay,
Let me give you an example. Windy Ridge, okay? When that was first brought to us, that parcel was zoned residential multifamily. So we couldn't have given them conditional zoning to do single-family detached. That has to be a complete change in zoning.
So would, if a person owned 2 RS 30 lots together, and they wanted to build a house on one and a solar panel on one, would
Not
that
allowed.
be conditional zoning?
No, because solar farms aren't allowed
Okay,
in RS.
so something that is allowed,
It's gotta be something,
It
that's
has
a
to
good
be
point,
conditional
yes,
zoning?
yes,
Okay,
it has to
okay.
be something that's allowed. Jump down, just for the sake of discussion, jump down to retail sales or repair. auto sales and service, motorcycle sales and service, bikes, auto parts, gas stations, you know, blah, blah. We elected to put none of those things in a PUD.
Right.
Because when we defined how we thought a PUD should be used, we said mixed residential with some retail. So to me, uses like these in retail sales or service and repair are perfect for conditional zoning.
So
'Cause if someone-
what would be the example?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah, we need to hear
Let me give the
examples,
example.
because otherwise,
Let's say,
Like a gas station.
okay, go down Richmond Road, there's a 4-acre parcel, that's Village Business District, okay? Let's say that person wants to put a gas station.
Okay.
They wanna put, a EV battery charging station. They want to put,
car wash.
not a car wash, we can't do car wash because of water,
I'm
but,
just kidding.
and let's say some kind of a, I don't know, garage service thing, okay? All those uses are allowable, but I suspect there would be some conditions that we would wanna work with the developer on in terms of, maybe noise, maybe, disposal of hazardous waste material, maybe setbacks, maybe lighting, that kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking. And if I look at it that way, then I'm not so sure.
About residential?
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it. I don't, and the council may change it. I just am thinking that if you're gonna do anything in residential, it's gonna be more of a PUD because you're gonna be mixed uses.
Yeah.
I mean, if you throw
I agree.
townhouses and single-family houses together in the same development, that's a PUD.
Right,
If I go down here and I put auto sales and service, a bike shop, a gas station, and a charging station, to me, that doesn't necessarily require a PUD because they're common use, they're uses within the same category.
there, yeah,
Does that make sense, sort of?
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, we may get blown out of the water, who knows?
But in the fact that you have it as a PUD kind of eliminates the need for conditional zoning, really.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So, I mean, if it was me, I would say for proposed conditional zoning, I'd drop it into all the retail sales and service.
okay, that makes sense.
Al, you good with that?
Yes,
Alright.
as an observer.
No, you're not an observer, no, you got appointed, you're no longer an observer. Hold on a second, how did I do the rest of these, okay. Okay, perfect, okay, alright. And if, as we get through this, if we decide we need to change the residential ones, we can come back and do that. Okay, and there might be, now that I think about it, go back to multifamily. I don't think we need it in single family, but go to multifamily. Look at things like a multifamily condominium or a multifamily. Those can be in a PUD. Can you see any reason that you'd want those in conditional zoning?
You're already setting up conditions as a part of a pad. So
Yeah, but what if,
it didn't come in as a pad, is that
Yes.
what you're saying?
okay, so let me go back to the Windy Ridge property. Let's say it had come in residential multifamily. Well, then I guess it would it have needed a PUD? Yes.
What's it mixed with? Well,
Well, if it had amenities, for sure it would need it, that's one of the other key factors. It would come in as a subdivision.
But if it's already, if we have it on this table as a pad, I don't understand why we would need
Conditional zoning?
yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that, I'm just bringing the question up. What about if you look at congregate or assisted living services? I think that's definitely a PUD though, isn't it? Provide convenience service such as housekeeping, transportation, recreational programs. It's already allowed in village business. If you were to put it in another area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were adding some, then it would be a PUD. If you moved it out of BB and you wanted to put it,
Or if you had one wing of
one
a
thing,
condominium of like
Yeah.
unassisted living, just kind of, and then the other side you put assisted living.
yeah.
Okay, my reasoning is that as long as it's in the PUD, there's no reason to have it as a conditional
both.
zone. And the only one would be, just take a look at it, just in case, the bed and breakfast home.
But that's primarily in private
I
homes and
mean, yeah,
small,
really,
yeah,
and we
that's,
have,
that doesn't,
so
yeah.
there's no reason
Okay.
for that either.
We don't have that in a PUD though, right? I've got an X on
No,
mine.
yeah, we took it
Yeah,
out.
but we have it in literally everywhere else.
Yeah.
Well, we decided on bed and breakfast home because that's private in a small home, that, and of course, that's subject to further restriction, but it wouldn't be something you'd put in a PUD. You wouldn't build a whole bunch of houses, just have bed and breakfast,
No.
cause that'd be more like a hotel.
Mm.
Alright, okay, so keep going then, down to consumer goods or sales and service, pretty much, I'm thinking that all these things, the ones that we put into PUD were computer software, camera and photographic supplies, clothing, jewelry, luggage, books, magazines, florist, art dealer, tobacco place, antique shop, all those ones we listed, okay? I would also consider, what? Holy crap, where'd it go? Hey, your mouse is wild. What the heck? There we go. I would also consider those, I would consider those for conditional use,
All of them?
conditional zoning. Yeah, pretty much, because if you put, let's just say somebody comes in and they wanna put the top 5 together,
The what?
the top 5 things
Oh,
in the
okay.
blue.
It just sounded different to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, those are not really compatible uses, but they're all uses that we allow in village business.
Okay, so it seems to me like if it's not listed on the PUD, what would qualify for conditional zone?
That's what I'm thinking. And there are a couple, if you scroll down the page, I would say that where we have listed those things on the PUD, you know, starting with computer software, pretty much all the way to the end of the blue, with the exception of the pet or the pet supply store, that those things too would be also candidates for conditional zoning. Because let's say that somebody didn't combine a convenience store, a fruit and vegetable store, a liquor store, and a pharmacy in with the mixed residential use. They just wanted to do it in village business.
Okay,
Then that would be a good choice for conditional zoning.
if it's combined.
Yeah, that's what I would think, yeah.
So if somebody had the acreage to do it, they couldn't combine things under,
No, they could.
no, I mean, forget the conditional zoning.
Yeah.
Somebody couldn't have like an electronics, appliance, clothing jewelry next door and all of that, they couldn't just do it without having to
They can
ask
do
for
it,
anything?
but if you're putting all those uses on the same piece of property, there has to be some kind of
Okay, on the same kind of, on the same property.
governance over how that's done. And
Okay,
that's
if
what I
it
think
was
would be.
on, what, like a, sort of like a strip?
I think that would be a
Like a
condition.
small shopping center
I think
kind of
that,
thing?
if you did like a coffee shop and a barber shop and a, I don't know, a specialty food store and an optical store, okay? I would think that would be a great candidate for conditional zoning.
Okay, let me understand. You're talking about one building which is
No,
subdivided
no,
into
you could, let's say you have a
different
4 acre,
stores?
no, let's say you have a 4 acre property, you can have 4 standalone stores.
Okay,
You have to be able to put some kind of conditions on how that's done. And I don't necessarily think it needs to be a PUD, but I think it
well,
could
okay, but
definitely
my
be
question
conditional
is,
zoning.
if somebody had the land to do it now without, you know, since it's permitted in commercial and village business,
Mhm.
they would have to they can't just apply for it and do it since it's, if they're, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No.
Okay, let's say
take another
somebody
run at it.
has, I don't know, 4 or 5 acres again, okay? And they wanna do several of these things, right now.
All on the
okay.
same acreage.
Yes,
Okay.
on the same acreage, but freestanding, separate, like you said, they wanna have a furniture, store, and electronics store in another
Okay.
one, and computer and software in another one. They have to come and ask for.
Well,
They
yeah.
can't just apply for it and get the approval?
Nope, hang on a
Why
second.
not?
I'm gonna look at the current table, and that'll, because remember, something, until the new table's approved, the things in the current table still apply. Let me just see what it says. So let's go down to, it's a nice mouse, I might not give this back. Okay. So currently, ooh, interesting. Come on. I don't like the online table because you can't see the columns.
Ah,
Oh.
You just
Let
see-
me, I'm looking at that, Mary, if something is PUD, is it, do you see anything that's PUD and CZ?
Well,
Any one item?
CZ's not in here.
we
Oh.
don't have a
Yeah, we don't have
conditional
it.
zoning.
Okay, so PUD's on the very end, so let's look at this for a second. Okay, so if I look at the uses, PUD's on the very end. If I go to,
Well, forget about
Okay.
the PUD right now.
No.
Just,
no, right now, let's say somebody wanted to do a bike repair shop, they wanted to sell tires, you know, that kind of thing.
Right, right.
The only places those would be allowed is village business, and there is no allowance for them in a PUD.
Okay, and I understand that,
Okay,
and so what I'm saying
I'm not
is-
trying to be thick, I'm just
No,
not,
no,
just
no,
keep
no,
going.
no, I'm sorry, I'm
No,
not
you're
being
fine.
clear, that if you have it under village business right here.
Correct.
So my question is, if somebody had 4 acres and they wanted to do several things,
Mhm.
they can just apply for a permit under the new table.
Under the new table, I think it should be conditional zoning, because you're putting multiple uses on the same piece of property.
Well, but,
That would be a PUD, right? Mixed.
No, because,
No.
no, because they're all in the same category, in terms of, they're all listed under like consumer sales and service. Any,
Let me
okay,
just
but I'm
read you
still
the-
not getting, no, I think you still don't understand. Forget, if somebody has 4 or 6 acres right now, and it's within about,
Village business.
Village business, and they wanna do more than one of these things.
on the same
On-
property,
Well, I mean, yes, let's say on
Okay.
the same property.
You're
They're
right,
not,
they can do
right
it.
now, they couldn't
they
do it.
wouldn't do it, they wouldn't be able to do it based on what we have now, because there's no allowance for PUD. That's why, when we talked about it, if somebody wanted to do that, and the uses fell within things that the village wanted, to allow them to do that under conditional zoning, to me makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so let's say they were those things that I said, but we have them listed under PUD.
Okay, so like small retail shops,
Right.
we can also list those under conditional zoning. For example, see if I'm getting it now. If you go down there, and somebody, let's say take that same 4 acres, and somebody puts in a liquor store, let's have them do a wine store, okay, a drugstore, a glass and optical shop, and a specialty food store. And
Okay,
they wanna put those 4 uses on that property.
okay,
I would say that under conditional zoning, you would be able to allow that. Because it's all village business uses, and you're not combining it with anything residential.
right.
That's the way I'm looking at it, and I could be wrong, I mean,
Let me read you this definition, maybe I'm being too literal.
no, that's all right.
Conditional zoning, a legislative zoning map amendment, so a zoning map amendment
Right,
to like RS 30. Okay, with specific site conditions
Right.
incorporated into the zoning map amendment. So I kind of, and again, I could be reading this wrong, I kind of understand that as you're wanting to change something that's RS30 to something else.
No,
No.
if you look, one of those articles I just sent you, go back and read your definition again. Because
Well,
what you're
it's not
talking
mine,
about.
it's yours.
Okay,
You're talking
but-
rezoning, so
But,
that's.
but
But it
you're talking
says-
about a rezoning,
It's conditional zoning is not what you call it.
right? but
CZ?
read the- Yeah, but read the definition,
A legislative zoning map amendment, so you're amending the zoning map
yeah?
with specific instructions or conditions incorporated into the amendment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me read you this. Hang on a second. This is the one that I just sent you.
You didn't have to ask the mayor's decision, definition of what they define them?
No, we've never worked with conditional zoning before.
Okay,
So, it says conditional zoning is a legislative process in which an applicant proposes and the local government considers a map amendment that includes additional conditions. Conventional zoning map amendments change the zoning district applicable to a piece of property, but do not include any standards beyond the base standards of the zoning ordinance. Conditional zoning allows the local government and the applicant to agree on additional conditions that may be appropriate for a particular project within the context of a legislative rezoning.
okay. So like an example, from what you just said, might be, is if I was to build a house on a lot, and the front acreage or the front, what's 35 feet is, you know, the
45?
45, and for some odd reason I wanted to keep a tree, that I wanted to readjust that, would that be a conditional zoning?
No, no.
Because I'm waiving what the zone that area
No,
says?
no, this is different.
I've
you can't-
got PUD and zoning confused.
Well, and then we don't have it in residential anyways.
Right, but you can't come in on a conditional zoning request and ask to change the setbacks on a property.
Okay, bad example.
Yeah, you might though, in residential, it would be a bad example because those things are a use by right, okay? But if you went into,
Business?
yeah, I mean, that's where I would think you might have a little more flexibility. Let me go back to the definition here for a second. They do not, conditional zoning does not include any standards beyond the base standards of the zoning ordinance, okay? So in other words, you can't put a whole bunch of dumb stuff in conditional zoning.
Okay,
But it allows you to, hang on a second. Go ahead, Teresa.
You know how my mind works, that I have to put things in categories.
I'm learning how your mind works, yes.
If I can sort it out in my head.
Yeah.
then- Okay, so let's say this, because I think
Where are
that, let's see if you're comfortable with you. Okay, if somebody, again, back to my 6 acres, if somebody wanted to do the things that are under a pod,
Correct.
we leave them under the pod. But if somebody wanted to include in that something that it's in the top, then we
No.
would do a conditional zoning?
No, not necessarily. When we put those things in a PUD, remember those, I mean, this is how I would think about it. Those are uses, those are primarily retail uses that we thought would combine well with some kind of residential. Okay, so
Okay.
now you have mixed use, so pretty
Right.
much by definition, that's a PUD. But what if someone came to us and they weren't gonna do it with mixed use? They weren't doing it, there was no residential use
Okay.
associated with it, okay? But they wanted to put a specialty food store, a liquor store, I don't know.
So I understand what you're saying, but we're saying that it's not, the reason why it won't be a pod, because it's not part,
It's not mixed use.
it's not a mixed use.
Correct, that's what I
Alright,
would say,
okay,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Now
Okay,
I got it.
alright,
See?
okay.
I can
But I
avoid-
think those uses still would qualify for conditional zoning.
Yeah, no, I understand, I don't have a problem, but you're saying, we already established that if it's the things that are here, they would fit into a pod, and we don't need a conditional zoning.
Well, but what if they're not mixed use?
Okay, so let's say if they are not conditional zoning, I mean, if they're
Not
not
mixed
part
use.
of the mixed use,
Right.
then they would be part of a conditional. zoning.
That's what I would say.
I'm fine with that.
Al, does
yes.
that make sense
Now,
to you?
now it makes
Yeah.
sense in my head.
Okay, no, that's fine. So what I might propose is that everything listed under consumer sales or service, just like we did under retail sales or service, would be something where we could apply conditional zoning. And then remember, in the very top part of that blue section, we don't have that stuff in a PUD. So you need to have some way to set some conditions for development if somebody wants to come in and do,
So it's both, the retail sales, service and repair, and the consumer goods sales and service. If they're not part, if they're not mixed with, they're not a mixed use, then,
conditional zoning.
then conditional zoning will
Yeah,
apply.
is that,
Okay.
Al, is it making
Yes.
sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up an actual, find an example.
Of a conditional zoning?
Yeah, just Google it, I got a couple here, I was just gonna read them. It's kind of a North Dakota, excuse me, North Carolina thing. Conditional zoning is.
Really? We're
Mhm.
so special. We got a few other things that are North Carolina things too. Anything good?
Well, you probably can, we'll sit here for 3-4 hours and you're still not done.
I think
If
she
you're
just-
looking at, no, because you always find, I mean, that's how I come up with things when I'm at home and I'm flipping through Google.
Okay, I'm gonna put these in and Alan, did
Okay,
you find
and
something?
it makes sense in my head now.
Okay, alright, good.
All right, fine. What about this other things?
Hang on a second.
The same thing?
So here's an example.
Okay,
While a commercial district might require that buildings have a 25-foot setback from the rear of the property line, a conditional district could increase that to 50-foot rear yard setback to address.
okay, perfect
So there's an
example.
example.
Perfect example. Let's say somebody has a concern about, yeah, well, I can't think of what it would be, but like, it wouldn't really be noise, 25 feet would make a lot of difference. But yeah, if you have a use that you think, hey, 25's a little close, you can change that. Okay, does that, now, that's good, now does it make
That
sense?
sees it, yeah.
All right, got
I
it.
get it.
Okay, except that now I'm a little confused because if somebody wants to do just one of those single uses,
They'd probably just come and get a building permit.
that's what I mean, so it
Pretty much,
doesn't,
yeah.
there's no need for conditional.
No,
So, okay, but if they wanted to
if you're gonna
change,
combine them, or,
Yeah.
or, let's say somebody's doing something, and I can't think of a use off the top of my head, but it's a use where we're okay with the use, but like Al just said, maybe we need to adjust the setbacks a little bit because of whatever adjoins it or something like that, then even a standalone, okay, could require conditional zoning.
okay, and how do we determine that?
Probably
Somebody comes
Mm-hmm.
through the door up with a permit,
with a request,
with your request
Okay.
for a, permit to be approved,
yep,
and what? And they meet the standards and everything else, they meet everything. Then how do you,
well,
how
here's,
do you
here,
tell them,
okay.
no, hey, no, now we want you to do this different?
Well, if we have it in there as conditional zoning, okay, which we do, then when that comes in, we can look at it and say, you're looking good, but let's conditionally do this or conditionally do that. We have the right to do that.
If
If
it's
it says
simply
conditional
the
zoning.
table says conditional zoning.
And then, okay, and then there's a whole, another part of that that goes into the UDO, the written part of it.
Okay, so how do we apply this, this particular thing here, that it says, okay, let's see here. But do not include any standards beyond the base standards. of the zoning.
In other
ordinance.
words,
Do you
you
understand what I'm
can't,
trying to say?
let me see if I can think of an example. Cause I read that same thing. The base standards for a zoning district are set in terms of, let's say, the height of a building, the setbacks on a building, something like that.
Yeah,
We can't get all crazy and do something that would be beyond in restriction what the base standards are. And here's the other thing, in conditional zoning, both the developer and the village have to sign off on every single condition, okay? We don't just go, hey, you gotta do this, this, and this. The developer might go, well, hey, wait a minute, you know, like, how about it's more of a negotiation, I would say, and you don't have to do it all in one fell swoop.
okay, but I'm still hung up on this thing. How all of a sudden you're gonna tell them because we feel like, it needs to have a buffer or whatever, that you're gonna have different setbacks than what the base standards are.
Because it can be, it can be done conditionally. The base standards for the zoning district, let's say, building height.
That's a good example.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't say to somebody, well, your building can only be this many feet tall. I don't think you could do something like that, but working with the setbacks is always something that gets negotiated when you're doing a development.
All right. Okay,
I'll see if I can find some other examples.
I'm hung up on that, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, but, I mean, I'll see if I can find some other examples, and, there might be some in these other two documents too, that I'm gonna send you, Val.
Okay, yeah, I'm checking.
Just be glad I didn't change your first name. Okay, let's drop down to food services, okay, wow, okay.
Okay, well, tell me about the financial or banking services.
I would say that you would put those things in conditional zoning,
Okay,
okay? And just cause it's there, doesn't mean that,
It applies.
well, yeah,
It will apply.
exactly, yeah, yeah. And I would say this kind of stuff applies to new developments.
sneaky,
Bye,
sneaky.
Andy. Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Okay, so if we go into food services, you got a full-service restaurant allowed in PUD, cafeteria, limited service restaurant allowed in PUD, snack or non-alcoholic bar, and a mobile food service, okay? Again, if you use the same logic,
That it's not a mixed use.
yeah, I would say that those things could all qualify for conditional zoning.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree? Oh, Teresa, you're the bomb. Al, you good?
No, as long as it
That's
clicks
what
in
we're
my,
on, I was
Food service,
checking my email. So that didn't come in yet.
really?
And then should.
you wanna take a look at this?
Teresa's got the printed ones.
I did print
I
this.
mean, on the,
The
food,
other-
what you were talking about, food services on there, what were you saying?
Oh, no,
If we apply the same logic to food services that we just applied in the other two categories, we would say that those things certainly could be conditionally zoned. They wouldn't have to be, but they could be. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
We're having-
Okay, by virtue of that, I guess the next one is the same thing.
Yeah.
I would think
agree.
so, yeah.
I would say everything. I mean, what can't be conditionally zoned?
Yeah, the only things we're saying probably we wouldn't conditionally zone, and I don't know, would be in the residentials, cause when you start mixing those, that's a PUD. That pretty
Yeah,
much is a
for
PUD to
sure.
me, yeah. And again, if you mix multifamily and single family, that's a PUD. If you start to mix the retail uses that we said were allowable in a PUD with residential, I mean, that's definitely a PUD, there's no, I don't think there's any other way to
But in
do it.
residential, if somebody was for some specially designed house, they're gonna break any of the enforcement codes we have on property.
Like what?
Could, I don't know,
No, can't do it.
yeah.
That's a pretty, I mean, the standards for the residential zoning districts are pretty set. Your building plans have to meet a specific set of rules.
But if they, so, I'm not saying they get it, but if they wanted to apply to build some special house that breaks one of the features we have in there,
Okay, here's
they might say no, but he or she has the right to apply for
Well,
that conditional
but
zone.
no, that would be a variance.
Okay.
That would be
With
the Board of Adjustment, yeah, that's the Board of Adjustment thing.
Okay,
Didn't you, were you on the Board of
I
Adjustment?
was,
Yeah, that's what I
only
thought.
had one case,
That's good. No,
who
that's
let the
good.
dog out.
Yeah. Oof. Okay, so let's keep going.
Well, professional services,
And I would say the same thing, we got
Same?
real estate rentals and leasing. I would say the same thing for that
Yeah.
whole,
for which one?
real estate, rentals and leasing,
Where's,
it's gray.
oh, the one
No,
before?
you're kidding, no, yeah,
Yeah, I already did that, yeah,
oh, well.
I'm past that, sorry.
You said you're-
I did ask you that question already. So we're doing the same thing with professional services.
I would,
And I think, and so now, so if it's not part of a mixed use development. Okay, what about special purpose recreation? You already have it marked there.
let me just get this in here.
That means that we already discussed it,
I'm not there, hold on.
the purple.
We're having a party when we extend this thing, no, I'm having a party when the village council approves this. Okay, so, yeah, because we said special purpose recreation, we talked about, say, for example, if you had a private golf course and you wanted to do some residential with it, that's gonna be a PUD, alright? But you could also just do the private golf course. But because it's a recreational district items definitely should be subject to conditional zoning.
Okay.
Because you can't write, I'm telling you can't write a recreational district standard that applies to every single thing that could be considered recreational.
Okay, that's the thing about, if it's not part of a mixed use, or is it a completely separate thing?
One more time,
Since I'm taking notes for the minutes here.
yeah?
All the other things that I have, all the other things is that as long as they're not part of a mixed use,
Conditional zoning.
Conditional zoning applies.
Okay,
Okay.
in special purpose recreation though, you could have a standalone recreational use. Take a miniature or disc golf course establishment, okay?
Mm-hmm,
If you came in to do that by itself, it's gonna have to have some conditional zoning. We
Okay.
need to be able, because one of the issues we have right now is that you can't, like, you have the golf course that's recreational district, the park is recreational district, the pool, the pickleball courts, okay? But you really can't apply the same standards to all those things because they're all very different. Like,
are we talking about each one of these categories, the theater, dance, the music, standalone?
I would, yeah.
The museum,
Yep.
is that what you're talking about?
What I'm saying, I
standalone?
think that everything in special purpose recreation would qualify in village business district, in RD, in a PUD, and in conditional zoning.
Why
Okay.
don't we have golf courses under VB, or is mine just a day? We've got mini golf under there, but not private and public.
Because that's really, a miniature golf course only takes a half an acre.
Sure,
That's very different than a golf course.
sure.
And I mean, I guess you could put it in there.
I was just wondering why we didn't.
It's a
That
massive
answers the
thing to
question.
put in a village business.
I think because it's more of a recreational district. I don't know, I mean, you could put it in there if you wanted. But again, actually, it's more, those uses are very much only recreational district. I could make a pretty good case for a miniature golf place, cause I looked it up to see how much property it
Yeah.
uses. You know, like, you can do them for on less than an acre. That you could probably do in VB. We don't have any village business, I don't think, that could accommodate a golf course.
Okay, that's the answer then.
Cause I think if you look at our current golf course, it's probably 35 acres, at least, I think, something like that. Okay, so are we good with conditional zoning for all the special purpose recreation?
Mm-hmm,
Alright,
okay.
okay, community service and health, that's kind of a new category we created. And I guess here, I would say that using the same thinking that we've used before, we didn't put those things in a PUD, okay? Although I just see something. What if you had a mixed residential use and they had a daycare? That probably could go in a PUD, couldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, that would be something that provided a service to the residents of the village.
yeah. So, are you changing it?
Well, I'm asking you.
Yes, I agree.
What do you think, Al?
Yes, yeah, it's a pretty common occurrence
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, I think so too. Alright, let's pop that in there. Okay, what about a nursery preschool?
Let's just look at that.
Yeah. I mean, if you had a small retail area in a mixed-use development, I could see a nursery preschool. Not talking elementary school, but nursery preschool, you don't need a ton of space,
Mm-hmm.
and the kiddos aren't there for that long. I couldn't do that in a PUD,
Okay,
yes or no?
all right.
I'm good either way.
All right.
I mean, I know- like I
And
said,
then all
I
of
look at
this
it
would,
too.
would go into a
Conditional zoning,
conditional.
yeah, yep, yep. Good work. You know, here's my only concern. When we're talking about it tonight, it makes sense to me.
Yeah,
And you know what happens when you get up and try to explain it to somebody else and you're like, what were you thinking?
yeah. I still don't have a clear-cut vision on,
You know,
Okay, but
Too.
use my logic, because I have to put it in a box somewhere in my head so that it makes,
you know,
if it's not in the box, I
it's not in
can't
the
deal
box, it
with it.
doesn't count. All right, let's continue on to construction and general contracting. I think all of those would need to be conditionally zoned.
Okay,
That's not something, and you've got noise considerations, you have space considerations.
this means they are doing that service on site, correct?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we have people that have those occupations, but they don't do them from their home, you know what I mean?
Correct. This would be like if somebody put in a flooring store and you had a tile guy and you had, well, that's not true. If you had contractors that were doing that type of work and it's,
From their residents.
no, not from their residence, from in village business.
Oh.
From their residence is just considered a home business and they go out, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
have
they
tons,
dispatch.
we have hundreds of people like that, okay?
That's what I was getting.
But some of the rest of it wouldn't necessarily have to be, done out of home. Like painting and wall covering, let's somebody opened up a carpet store and they had, you know, some paint and they had some wall coverings and stuff like that, that'd be BB. Okay, so I've made all those conditional zoning,
Okay,
alright? Let's go down to, ooh, we're on the last category,
Mm,
hallelujah.
hallelujah.
say it ain't so.
No, let's say it is so. Okay, so in agricultural and forestry, we didn't really put anything in PUD, which I think.
I don't see a
Which
PUD or conditional zoning on this, but anyway.
Well, you might have a
Tell
good
me.
point, Teresa. You might have a very good point. Because in residential agricultural, in rural estate,
Although maybe the things that can go, the 4 things that go in village business.
correct,
The greenhouse,
the greenhouse, no on sale, no on-premise sales, so that's a distributor. Greenhouse sales of products grown on premises, greenhouse sales of products and related accessory products. You could conditionally zone those probably. Think about that for a second.
Well, I mean, there might be a reason why you wanna set some conditions on that, yeah.
I think the ones in VB, yes.
Okay.
The ones that are in the agricultural district, the rural estate district, the RF 200, and the equestrian district, I would say no. But I think the VB is a good idea. You see where she's talking about?
Yeah, right here on the greenhouse production.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good one. So just those top.
Okay, why do we have a line on crop support functions and it's not allowed anywhere?
Where is it?
After the greenhouse sales of products, there's a crop supporting
Oh.
functions?
Because we were supposed to take that out.
Okay.
Let's just delete the row.
Oh, and then you have,
Hang on
you
a
have
second.
this other forestry and logging, which is allowed in village business.
Yeah, I don't know that that needs conditional zoning though. Forestry and logging is pretty much, has a lot of controls in it from the county. In terms of, if you put land into forestry, okay, you're saying you're not gonna develop it and you're just gonna use it for forestry and logging.
Mm-hmm.
If you pull it out and you go to sell it, you pay 3 years of back taxes, which kinda deters people. I don't know, what would the conditional zoning, what kind of conditions would you put on it? Because if they're gonna log it, they're not gonna cut trees until they're mature, because otherwise they don't make any money. They replant to replenish. So I can't think of what the conditions are.
I don't either, but I'm not familiar with those things, so I can't say.
That's okay.
I don't see any.
Let me get crop support functions, because I think we sort of nixed the fertilizing thing, right? Delete that. Okay. Okay.
Are you taking it out?
I took the crop support functions, yeah, the fertilizing out, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I hesitate to say this. We got any questions?
No, I'm okay with what we did.
Al's like, of course I got questions, I just got appointed to this board.
I don't. I'm gonna.
Yeah, okay, so, my next $64 question is, do you think we're ready to recommend this to the council?
Yeah, let's do it. Don't go home, Mary, and find something else now, please. And then you make us wait until the next, or have a special meeting,
Special.
because you thought about something, just put it to rest.
Well, here's the
That's
thing,
it.
what we'll do is we can make a motion tonight to approve it and send it to them. And then, I mean, it gets posted online for people to review. So if something comes up, I mean, I've been many times stood up and said, hey, this is what we started with, but you might wanna consider this. You know, this is not gonna be a perfect, not gonna be a
Well,
perfect.
I know, and
For
the
sure.
council,
Working
the
document.
council might have a different opinion
Well,
about things.
Teresa, I might have to have you come and explain the logic. Okay? Alright, so, having gone through everything, we've assigned the conditional zoning uses, we've gone through the PUD uses, yes.
I move that we.
Alright, Teresa makes a motion that we send a completely revised table 6.1 to the council. And our recommendation is that we delete the current table in its entirety and replace it with this one. I need a second.
Yeah, I would just suggest, and you're probably gonna do this, you know, when you talk to the board, define, here's how we viewed a PUD.
Oh, heck yeah,
And here's how
Oh,
we-
yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do
yeah.
the
You know.
highlights, that's what I
Yeah,
was
yeah, and
asking.
you guys are welcome to come too. I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, done. Yippee! If we had a bar, we'd go up and drink.
You can go home and have a
What I'd
drink.
like to say is, thank you, if you're watching online, you won't have to see that for a while. All right.
And you're gonna, and it's gonna come out in the video,
I
then you
know.
suggested that.
Suggested that I'm really glad we don't have to talk about this anymore.
You
Okay.
know that we have a drink.
All right, yeah, all right. Okay, let me give you a Windy Ridge update. Lisa and I sat down with the land developer today, all right? Let me just get my notes up. We had a good discussion, and I'll just bring you up to speed.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna transfer I already wrote it up there, I'm gonna transfer it.
You don't have to be super, super detailed when you do the minutes.
I know,
Don't.
but I need to make sense, remember?
Well, that's
in my
right,
head,
no,
it has
that's
to
true,
make sense,
that's true, okay.
otherwise.
So let me just run you, what Lisa and I did was, we sat down with David Upchurch, who's one of the developers, and walked through the things from the review of the preliminary plat that were identified as having to be turned in before we look at the final, all right? And so, we've got pretty much everything. There's one thing that they have to submit to us in addition to submitting it to the county, which is not a big deal.
By the way, I after we left, when was it? I went and
Did you
drove
drive it?
around, yeah.
That's really pretty. It's
It is
beautiful.
pretty.
It's beautiful.
It's good, it really has like a nice,
Yeah. It's
very
really nice.
serene.
So, and just so you know, the site for septic systems will be submitted individually per lot with building plans. All right, there won't be a wholesale submission of that.
Okay, septic,
Yeah,
individual?
septic, yeah, one of the things they have to show is the sites for the septic. Well, because each lot is being sold individually and built individually, that septic tank siting, or the septic system siting will come in individually with each building plan, okay?
Have those perks already been done? All that money?
No, but they had to do all their soils analysis, and we have that, so I guess what I should say, I'm not sure if they've perked them.
Mhm.
You'd think they probably would have, but they've
Yeah.
done all this, actually, they don't almost half, no, I don't know, let me just,
Okay.
but they've done all the soil analysis, so they know where they should put them. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, if you drive through there, the drainage ditches are pretty steep. I drove through after the rain we had on Friday, and there was no standing water on the road, which not was a surprise, but it was good. A fair amount of sand flow to the big pipe down to the retention pond, okay? But what'll happen is, those, as they go to put driveways in, there'll be a driveway pipe under every driveway, all right?
Cool.
And, yeah, and, yes, and then,
Collect water, okay.
no, to let it run through.
You
to let
will
it run
collect
down.
it and run it.
Yeah, and the drainage ditches will be sodded, which is gonna slow down all that erosion.
Okay, let me back up. You said that Lisa met with?
Lisa and David Upchurch and I, Lisa
Okay.
is the zoning
Okay,
administrator.
you met with them too?
Yeah, there were three of us, yeah, yep.
Was the
Is,
retention pond
is
full?
he the developer?
He is the land developer,
Okay.
he is not the builder. No, the retention pond wasn't full.
Okay.
But if you drive back there, that
I have.
retention pond is a good, I mean, that's a good size.
Yeah.
Because you gotta figure, you take hurricane rain for 2 or 3 days,
Yeah,
that's gonna fill up,
absolutely.
yeah. You'll
Okay,
have,
One more question.
no, I'm kidding, go ahead.
You said that the final plot is now gonna go to the county?
No, I did not say that. Final plat's gotta go through us first.
Oh, okay,
Oh, no, don't say that.
to us first.
Yeah,
okay.
so there will be 3 builders, A&G, Stout Construction, and Ned Johnson, who is on site. Okay, so each lot will be sold individually.
Mhm.
They're gonna be spec houses, but if you look on the on-site website, there are like 8 or 10 building plans. So, and I don't know this for a fact, but my thought would be that you're gonna get plans to choose from, and then you're gonna pick, all right? They'll probably they're gonna push 2,500 feet plus, okay? So we're not talking, because those are 40,000 square foot lots, they're beautiful, all right? We talked about the water tower buffer. Al, you weren't on yet, but Teresa, you might recall, we said we wanted a 10-foot vegetative buffer on the 3 sides of the water tower, okay? Well, today, after I drove it, I was like, you know what? They don't need a vegetative buffer on the side that faces the road, because the road comes in really tight to the water tower. They will need one on either side, because there are houses that are gonna be built there, all right?
So on 2 sides?
Yeah, the 2 sides, you won't need it on the side that faces the road, but on the other 2 sides, the real sides, you will, all right?
Okay.
We talked about a plant to put in there. It's spelled E-L-E-A-G-N-U-S, Eleganus. Anyway, they get bushy, and they're basically impenetrable, which is pretty much what we'd like to have. I gotta look up and see the growing requirements for that, but,
Is this like you said bush, is this like a really high?
no, if you
Bush?
go down,
I mean, the tower's pretty tall.
well, no, we're just talking about the fence.
Oh,
Just the
okay.
fence. If you go down Hoffman
Oh,
Road,
so it's to the buffer,
headed toward
okay.
211, there is a horse farm on the right-hand side, it's yellow, and they have these bushes out front, okay? And if you come up off of Linden Road, heading toward Foxfire, there is a house, I think it's the second house on the right-hand side has these. And they're, I mean, you cannot get through them, which is exactly what we want, because we don't want anybody doing something stupid over the fence, okay? We did, however, give them the option not to put that in until the houses on those lots are ready to be built and there's water to the lots, okay? David Upchurch's work is done once the final plat is recorded, okay? All the clearing is done by the developer. I should say all the clearing is done by the builders. And we talked through today, our requirements for 8, seed-bearing trees, that kind of thing. That's one that we're gonna have to monitor a little bit. The builder will also have to submit an erosion control plan as part of the construction approval process.
Okay, so the plot comes to us first and then they can sell?
Correct, the final plat will come to us. What we talked about, let me just go through the rest of this, I got notes on the final plat toward the end.
Okay.
There will be a fence around the retention the fence around the retention pond. This was something way from the beginning. It's a 3-rail fence with inside wire. There'll be some kind of no entry sign, okay? And the HOA, who is going to be Little and Young out of Fayetteville, also will give us the formal maintenance, the retention pond maintenance agreement, okay? That fence will be installed before we get the final plat. On the guardrail, which we asked them for, that will also be installed before the final plat. If you go down South Shamrock, you have a cable guardrail on it's not the bridge, but on the causeway, yeah, okay? That's what they're gonna put in, because if you look at the lots that face that have a beautiful long view out to Jackson Springs Road, you don't wanna put up ugly guardrail. I mean, cable at least you can see through, okay? They'll submit for a subdivision sign, that they'll need a permit for that. The street signs will be like what we already have. I sent them a picture of that today, all right? Okay, so here's the deal. The final plat will probably, no, back up. Duke is starting to work on the power on the 2nd of December. They have been waiting months for them to do that. And it will take them about 2 weeks to install. They won't send us the final plat until right after the beginning of the year, because wisely, they don't wanna pay property taxes on it. I mean, if they give it to us and it gets recorded on December 31st, they ain't paying property tax for the whole year, which wouldn't be too smart. So what'll happen is, once we know it's coming in, we'll set a special meeting to approve it. Lisa and I'll sit down with them first to just be absolutely certain we have everything we need. And then for us, I won't say it's just a rubber stamp, but we'll go through it and we shouldn't hit any speed bumps, okay? Okay, takes care of that. Moving into new business. One of the things that and I guess it's a little homework for us, but one of the things that I'd like us to consider looking at is how we zone land that is used for public use. For example, the village hall, the cop shop, the fire guys, the pool, the pickleball courts, the park, things that are public, things that are owned by the village, okay? And what I'm thinking is, and it may turn into nothing, but would you guys be willing to each take a district, or not a district, a village, and let's just go in and read in their ordinances and see how they zone that stuff. Okay? So like if you go to Pinehurst, what you would do is look, if they have I don't know if they have a zoning map online, they probably do, but you wanna look at the village hall, the fire department, the cop shop, and see what the zoning is. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Pinehurst. Al, you wanna try Pinehurst?
Don't care, whichever one you want.
All right. Okay, we've got Whispering Pines.
Let me do Whispering Pines.
Okay. Hang on a second.
Okay, I like.
You like Aberdeen, I knew you were gonna say that.
I can do Southern Pines too.
Whispering Pines, I'll give you Whispering Pines and Southern Pines.
You giving me Whispering Pines too?
Yeah.
No.
I thought I was just gonna do Whispering
Oh,
Pines.
sorry.
I'm
sorry,
doing Aberdeen
sorry,
and Southern
sorry.
They have a website?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do, they
They
have
all
all these
do.
things,
They all do.
online.
Okay, Aberdeen. I'll do Whispering Pines, I should be able to do Whispering Pines.
So which one do you want me to do?
You're doing
Whispering
Pine.
Pines, you're doing
Oh.
Whispering Pines.
He is doing Whispering
Yeah,
Pines?
yeah.
And you, and.
I'll
you're
do
doing
Pinehurst.
Pinehurst?
You know what? Okay, so Teresa, yeah, you can do Aberdeen and Whispering Pines. Okay.
No, I'm doing Aberdeen and Southern Pines.
Shoot, you're right, hold on. I'm hungry, what can I say? I had a fasting blood draw this morning, couldn't
Oh.
eat, drink coffee, I was like,
Okay.
morning coffee is highly underrated, let me tell ya. Woo, okay.
It is.
So I've got
So Alan is
Pinehurst,
doing-
I've got Pinehurst.
Okay,
Al has Whispering Pines, you're taking Aberdeen and Southern Pines. Who'd I miss? I'll look at Pine Bluff too. Okay?
okay.
We'll just give you one, Al, cause you've not done it before.
Okay, Whispering Pines it is.
It is, yes, I won't change it anymore. Okay, alright, so let's just see what they have, and if it turns out it's not a big deal, then we're not gonna do it, but it's hard.
What are you suspecting?
Well, I think they have something, because, like, for us, this property is zoned Village Business District, which doesn't really, it doesn't really, well, it doesn't work for me. I mean, it's not village business, it's government-owned property, and it's village-owned property, so we'll just take a look and see, okay?
Let's see how they do. it.
Okay, I've got Pinehurst and Pine Bluff. Al has Whispering Pines. You have Aberdeen and Southern Pines. Okay, alright. Okay, lastly, when do we wanna do a training session?
Mary, if you're replacing.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm
It
thinking.
doesn't make sense to
doesn't
do
pay.
it before.
Yeah, it
I
probably,
mean, I've been here for a while and somehow I managed out,
I know.
Anna's doing
I'm
okay.
thinking, I think maybe what I'm thinking is January.
Okay, well, wait until, when, first you need to, you said that she hasn't officially said.
Yeah, but I've talked to her, so I'm gonna have Lisa,
So when is the announcement gonna go
I
out?
don't know, that I don't know, but I
I
think.
got your email.
Oh, did you? Okay, good. I know you wanna stay up late tonight and read the whole thing.
You knew it.
Did you say yes?
Did you do it?
That's scary.
Okay, so then,
How about January?
okay, hold on, because I
Okay.
think that it's not gonna work. Don't forget, we have holidays in between. Because after that, we have to get applications, and maybe I would recommend that we go the same route we did before.
Yeah,
Uh,
the
you
council
know?
probably will be a little more involved
Yes, and
this
then
time
they,
too. Yeah.
from what they said, we have to expand on it too.
Okay,
So at this point, I think that the new person is not gonna come in until January
well, okay, so sometime late January, February, we gotta do it.
Yes,
All
yes.
I'm
right.
good with that.
Yeah,
I,
okay,
I'm good with it as
Yeah.
well, but I'm just saying that I think we should wait first to,
yeah.
that we have somebody.
You're pretty smart, Teresa. Yeah, I'm a little anxious to get it rolling, because the faster you understand the basics, and and I'm not some genius, don't get the wrong idea. But the more the terms start to make sense, the more the
Yeah.
way things are put together starts to make sense.
Well, I mean, I would like to
She
have it
has
as soon as
ulter-
possible.
She has ulterior motives, she wants to leave
For the
us.
reasons you just described.
What'd you say?
I said I would like to get it as soon as possible
Yeah.
for the reasons you just
Yeah.
described. Cause, you know, I mean, it's kind of like a lame duck session until you know it.
I understand, but what I'm saying is we are.
Yeah, but she's the one that's gotta do it twice, not you.
That's once you got it ready to go, that's not a big deal. You know what we could do? I could do one with you guys,
Okay,
and then just do another one. Cause I've told the council if they wanna come, you know, I don't know if they will, but
Mhm.
and like I said, it's just to get some
when
basic,
is the appointment to the county?
5th of December, it
Okay,
comes up.
so,
Yeah.
alright, so let's do it January
You wanna
first.
try January?
Whenever, you're the ones doing it, I mean, so I'm
Alright.
on your schedule.
Let's try January. Whoa. Get out of there. Alright, let's try January. All right. Okay. Teresa, thank you for doing those notes.
So let's see what comes out.
It'll be, well, if you have questions, you can get with me. Don't make it, don't make it hard.
I understand,
Okay.
but I would have problems if I didn't understand something.
No, that's all right.
I'm okay.
That's okay, all right. Okay, and then once we have the ETJ rep appointed, even if we're down a person, then we gotta pick a new vice chair.
When do you plan on going for that fifth?
Well,
position?
probably, I mean, I would think within a couple weeks, just depends upon what we get, okay? All right, so, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to second. Done and done. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.